Hello everybody, my name is Michael Bernard and I'm here with Brigitte Martin. She's the founder of Crafthaus, a social networking site for contemporary craft artists.
That's right.
And she agreed to sit down and answer some questions with me today to help instruct you all about how Crafthaus might better serve you. So the first thing I wanted to ask you is that craft has kind of been a label that's been a little, it can cause a little bit of controversy even at like SNAG conferences or within the metalsmith greater community. But I think you have done a little bit of an interesting spin on it with the Crafthaus name. So could you tell me why you chose that name?
Well, when you choose a name for an online website, you want it to be something that kind of is catchy in a way that people can remember, and also obviously it needs to be relevant to what it is you're doing.
Right.
So I was pondering a lot of things, but what it is that I'm doing, what I'm interested in, and what I want the website to be about happens to be craft. All these kind of crazy names, and then I thought, you know what, I'm doing craft, but I'm not only interested in the metals, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm also interested in fiber, in paper, in wood, basically anything. I want anything. I want it all under one roof. So I choose Crafthaus, which means house. So kind of just to show that the crafts are under one roof.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
I like
Plain
that.
and simple.
Well, it kind of references like a shelter almost for these types of disciplines. Well, that's really amazing. I mean, your network has over 1,600 members, and it hasn't even been 2 years yet.
Yeah.
Did you really think it was going to become something so big when you first started?
Honestly, not at all. You've been with this network for maybe a year,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little less. And when I started it 2 years ago, let me say, the way that you see it now, it just did not spring from thin air. This website grew organically, and it grew out of the situation I was in personally 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was not in a school situation, I was not affiliated with a gallery, I was really basically sitting in the basement of my house, working at my stuff, totally isolated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, my communication was listening to the radio. It was totally pitiful, and I needed communication. I needed to break out of that. And actually, while I was listening to the radio, there was a show on public radio, and they spoke about social networks. Facebook is out there, obviously, and all these other sites, and they were talking about how really everybody could start a social network around something that they're interested in. Say you're a macrame enthusiast, you can build a network and connect with all people. And I thought, oh, maybe this is something I could do. So it really grew out of a need that I had in my own particular situation. A friend of mine told me, yeah, you're a SNAG member, why don't you let SNAG know? And I thought, yeah, why don't I? So I did. And I mean, it just hit the fan. It was incredible, and it's growing, not only in the metal fields, in furniture, in all these ceramics, in all these fields, and it's really started. It started out as something that I needed to do for myself,
right?
And now it has morphed into the service that I am providing for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally changed from 2 years ago to last year to now.
Yeah.
There are so many of us, and especially in the various fields. Is there a ceiling? I don't think so. It'll just grow.
Yeah.
The key will be to kind of make it relevant. To keep it relevant and not have it be this monster that nobody kind of knows their way around it anymore.
Right. Do you think that relevancy is what really causes the appeal of the network versus something like MySpace or Facebook?
Well, you tell me, you're on it. Is it relevant for you? Is it relevant to you?
Well, yeah. I feel I have a habit where I sign in and I actually check Crafthaus before I go to Facebook, just because it seems like whenever I would go to a larger social network, I have to wade through the sea of other things. And I think that the relevancy of Crafthaus. I don't have to listen to, you know, how somebody loves their dog. I listen to how somebody loves their practice.
Yes.
Instead.
Yes.
You know, you don't see baby pictures, you see pictures of artists' babies, which aren't their work.
You know what, I'm so glad you're saying that, because this is precisely what I want, and that's what I'm interested in.
Okay.
I do like Facebook for different reasons, but you get all this fluff, right?
Yeah.
And I never wanted Crafthaus to be kind of a clearinghouse for fluff. I'm not interested in it,
Yeah.
right? I think, for me, and from what I've heard from others tell me, what you just said is the appeal of Crafthaus. It's that what it is we do is the focus of the website, right? So it doesn't matter if you have pretty blue eyes, or if you come from this fancy school, if you have that awesome degree, you live in a cool city, or you live in a really dumpy city. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is what is it that you do, and you put it out there, and people connect through the work that you do. It's like a constant gallery exhibition. So they see something on the site, it speaks to them, and then if they are members, they can be in touch with that artist. And 99.9%, the artist on the other side is just as eager to talk about the work as you are about learning. So this is, I think, the big appeal. I got rid of all the advertising on Crafthaus. I think that's totally unnecessary. And yes, that's precisely what it is. It's the focus on the work that we do. And everything else is just fluff.
The last thing I really wanted to talk to you about is, with all this added content and bandwidth that you're talking about Crafthaus having to secure, I think part of that is coming from people who are starting to put the radio, podcasts and video and this more dynamic media. And this is the debut year for the Media Lounge. And so we were kind of interested in getting your perspective on how you think that dynamic, the non-static, will work for our field, given that for so long, I think the way that we presented ourselves was through slides. Slides were kind of you. People knew your work through slides before they even knew what you looked like. But now, with video, a lot more of the work coming back to the body, of documenting the artist in the studio, in process is happening. And so it's really offering this inside, intimate view. Do you think that's really going to change the way that our practice, I guess, how we project ourselves as artists? Is it going to change whether we see ourselves represented just by our slides, or by how we open up and kind of reveal ourselves through this dynamic media in a web environment?
I think video will be the future, absolutely. There is definitely, there will always be the need for still photography with certain things. That's just, how you translate what you have to say. But from what I can see from the videos that come in, I have two kinds of videos on this site. I have video that is artwork in and of itself, art video, which I love. But I also have video, and I think that's what you're talking about, where somebody videographs an artwork. And what I like about it is that it helps better understand. I think it really helps to understand the artwork better, because I saw a video where somebody kind of reached his hand, reached into the video, and something was moved. And you get a better understanding of the scale of the artwork itself.
Yes.
And then, really, when we look at an artwork, we don't look like this at the artwork the whole time for 5 minutes. We move around, our body shift, we look at it from all kinds of angles. Video does the same thing. So yes, it's incredibly